Welcome to the New Africa, the channel that's changing how the world sees Africa. From groundbreaking mega projects to untold success stories, from vibrant cultures to bold innovations, this is the Africa they don't show you on the news. The New Africa, in changing the narration. Subscribe and be part of the movement rewriting Africa's story with pride, power, and purpose. Africa, the cradle of humanity, a land that gave the world rhythm, gold, wisdom, and civilization long before Europe rose from its own ashes. But today, in too many corners of our continent, the chains are no longer on our bodies. They are wrapped around our minds. They called it independence, but it came with a leash. A new war was declared. Not on our lands, but on our languages, on our dreams, on our culture. A war led not by soldiers, but by teachers, banks, currencies, and TV screens. This is the war for African minds. And the architect? France. The old colonizer with a new disguise. Soft power, they call it. But what's soft about robbing a child of their identity? This is not history. This is now. From Mali to Gabon, from Senegal to Chad, the same hands still write our laws, teach our children, control our money, and name our heroes. This film is not just a documentary. It is a cry for truth, a call to memory, and a spark for resistance. If you have ever wondered why Africa still bleeds, stay with us. The answer is closer than you think. After waving goodbye to the French flag, many African nations believed they were finally free. But what they didn't see were the chains they couldn't touch. Francafrique, the hidden empire, the shadow government of the continent. Francafrique was not just a policy, it was a system of manipulation. While African flags rose, French puppet strings remained. They installed leaders who pledged loyalty not to their people, but to Paris. Military bases stayed. Secret bank accounts flowed through France. African gold, uranium, and oil continued to power European lights, while African children studied in darkness. This wasn't just theft, it was betrayal, the kind that smiles while stabbing you slowly. Francafrique is not history. It is a wound still bleeding. Until we expose the hand behind the curtain, we will never own our freedom. Imagine building a house with your hands, then being told it belongs to someone else. That's what France has done for decades with the CFA franc. The CFA franc, created during colonial rule, still binds 14 African nations to the French treasury. It's not just money, it's a leash. France holds reserves, dictates monetary policy, and siphons billions under the disguise of stability. But how stable is poverty? How secure is dependency? When African children go hungry while their governments send money to European banks, we must ask, who really profits from this agreement? As long as our money is printed by a foreign master, we will remain beggars in a mansion built from our own resources. They silenced our drums and handed us French dictionaries. In classrooms, they erased our tongues and called it education. French isn't just a language, it's an ideology of superiority. It tells young Africans, your language is backward, your thoughts are primitive, your culture is disposable. This is not communication, it is domination of identity. By forcing French in law, schools, and media, France ensures the African child grows up idolizing Paris and doubting his village. This is a war for the African mind. A war where every French word kills an African thought. A liberated Africa must not only speak for itself, it must speak in its own voice, in its own language. From music to movies, news to fashion, France doesn't just visit Africa, it dominates it. Through media and culture, France exports its worldview as superior and civilized. African art is exoticized. French cinema replaces indigenous stories. African beauty is judged through white standards. This isn't soft power, it's cultural erasure. And when young Africans dream only of visas, not victories, when they know more about Versailles than Timbuktu, France has already won. To reclaim Africa, we must decolonize not only our economies, but our imaginations. But Africa is not sleeping. From Ouagadougou to Bamako, the tide is turning. New leaders rise, not to beg, but to build. The youth no longer fear Paris. They challenge it. France's mask of benevolence is cracking. It is being exposed, not as a savior, but as a parasite. Ibrahim Traoré and many like him speak the truth that millions feel. Enough is enough. The age of French control is ending, and a new era is beginning. The war for African minds will not be won by diplomats, but by dreamers, artists, teachers, and warriors of culture. Let Africa rise, not in French, but in freedom. For too long, Africa danced to a French rhythm, but now the music is changing. Across our continent, brave leaders like Ibrahim Traoré are tearing down the masks. Mothers are teaching their children native tongues. Youth are choosing truth over illusion, and the African lion is not waking up. It is rising. This is more than politics. This is a cultural revolution, a spiritual cleansing, a battle not for land or gold, but for the soul of Africa. We are not anti-France, we are pro-Africa. We do not hate their people, but we refuse their domination. The war for African minds ends when we say, enough. France may have drawn our borders, but they will not define our destiny. To every African watching this, you are not voiceless. You are not powerless. You are the descendant of kings and queens, of prophets and warriors. This is your time. This is your war, and your mind is your weapon. Stand up, speak out, and let the world know. Africa is not for sale. If you believe in the brilliance of African minds, if you believe that the sun rises in the east but freedom will rise in the south, then share this message. Subscribe to the New Africa, tell the truth, and never forget, liberation begins in the mind.